Vaughan, learn English.
Escúchanos en cualquier momento y en cualquier lugar. Descarga la app de Vaughan Radio.
You are listening to
Everyday.
To listen to Vaughan Radio.
You're listening to Vaughan Radio.
Tune in every day.
Vaughan Radio.
Excuse me, Richard. What does strive mean? To strive? Yes. What does it mean? It means esforzarse. And what does endeavor mean? Endeavor? As a noun or as a verb? Both. Well, as a noun, it means esfuerzo or empeño. And as a verb, it means esforzarse, like strive. And one more question. What does go all out mean? Go all out? That's a phrasal verb. Yes, but what does it mean? Go all out? It means darlo todo, or dejarse la piel, or hacer hasta lo imposible. Thank you, Richard. Do you know why I'm asking these questions? Yes, I do. Yes, I know why. It's because you're a student of the Vaughan method. You're a product of Vaughan. It's logical that you want to strive, to endeavor, and to go all out. That's what we call motivation, inspiration, and impetus. That's what happens when a student encounters the Vaughan method.
Hello, friends. It's that time of year again as we celebrate the Canada Day Pancake Breakfast in support of the Asociación Española contra el Cáncer. With the support of Vaughan Radio, we once again welcome you to join us for breakfast on Sunday, July 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Toast Tap Room Malasaña, Calle San Vicente Ferrer 33 in Madrid. Enjoy authentic Canadian-style pancakes and maple syrup, with a portion of each breakfast sold being donated to the Asociación Española contra el Cáncer, along with all the funds from our prize raffle, Nuestra Rifa. This year we have great prizes from Air Canada, Taste of America, Maltman Brewing, and more. Join us for a great time in support of a great cause at the 8th Annual Canada Day Pancake Breakfast, Sunday, July 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Toast Tap Room Malasaña. I hope to see you there, and happy Canada Day.
El primer día, hello, my name is, y poco más. El segundo día ya te vas soltando con los phrasal verbs. El tercer día pides la comida como un gentleman o una lady. El cuarto día das un speech con el acento de la reina de Inglaterra. El quinto día recitas Shakespeare con gracia y soltura. El sexto día ya piensas en inglés.
¿Y el séptimo día qué? ¿Descansas?
No, al séptimo día ya estás de vuelta en casa con un nivel de inglés mucho mejor. Ven a Vaughan Town, un lugar en el que 6 días equivalen a 500 horas de clase de inglés. Vivirás en un entorno 100% angloparlante en el que tenemos un gran número de actividades para que desarrolles tu inglés, te sueltes y te olvides de la timidez. Vence a la vergüenza en Vaughan Town y mejora tu nivel de inglés. Llama ahora al 91 133 5833 o entra en grupovaughan.com.
Everyone has a story to tell, and every Saturday afternoon, I want to bring you one. I'm Linda Scaparato, and every week we meet interesting people who share funny, surprising, and memorable stories from their lives, all in English. This show is for people who want to enjoy real English conversations in a relaxed and fun way. So whether you're learning English or you just love hearing good stories, you're in the right place. Every episode, our guests will talk about life experiences, how they learned English, how they adapted to Spain maybe, embarrassing moments, unexpected adventures, projects, and much more. So grab a coffee, maybe a beer, or even something stronger, and let's hear today's story. Now today I'm here with a dear friend of mine, Jorge Neri. His wife is one of my very good friends. She was just awarded, before we talk about you, let's talk about your wife.
Please do so. That's easier.
His beautiful wife was just awarded one of the top 50 Latinas to follow by Forbes magazine.
Yes, very proud of her.
You should be. And I love this couple because they are a couple that works together, that evolves together, and they both believe in despertar. And that's it. And Jorge just published a book called La economía de la abundancia. And today he's here to share a little bit about the concepts that he speaks about in the book. And you can find his book at Amazon on Amazon, Casa del Libro, Corte Inglés, and all major book retailers. Now, Jorge's here from Venezuela. His English is perfect. It's great.
Let's see.
It's great.
Let's see. Let's
we
put
always
that to the test.
We always speak in Spanish, but today we're going to speak in English. Now, Jorge comes from Venezuela. He went to NYU Law School and NYU Business School. So he's a fellow NYU grad like myself. NYU Law School, for those of you, and the business school that don't know, is one of the top in the United States. So, I mean, that's amazing that you've done both.
Well, it took me a lot of effort. And I'm here. Linda, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to your program. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to share all this with your audience. I just want to start, you don't know this story, but because your audience will love this. It was very hard for me to learn English because I didn't learn it when I was young. So I have to study to go to university. And I apply. I have very good grades.
Yeah.
And they admitted me in NYU. You know what happened? I couldn't get the 600 score in the TOEFL that is required to get in.
Oh.
So they sent me a letter. 3 months. They gave me more time to pass the score. And by mistake, they sent me a letter saying we're waiting for you here and at NYU. And I saw the score. It was 580. I couldn't reach the 600, but I said, okay, I go.
And they let you in?
No, listen to the story.
Okay.
I went to NYU. I went the first day to class, and they were reading all the students, and I wasn't there. So they took me to the dean of the law school, and the dean told me, listen, you should come back next year, work hard on your English, because you're not going to be able to understand and pass all the exams. So I suggest you go. And I start negotiating with him. No, I don't want to go. I want to stay. I will put all my effort. He says, okay, you sign to me a document that says you're going to get the first semester, be in all the grades or above, and you will stay. If you go lower in any grades, you will lose your tuition. So I had to call
tuition's high at NYU.
Oh, it's super high. So I had to call my father and say, Father, you're paying the tuition. So we're both in. I want to do this. And he says, I trust you. Let's do it. So,
wow.
And it was so funny because most of the students I was working with, they had very good English. So guys, if you're there and you want to effort yourself and get a perfect English, it doesn't matter. You just keep efforting and you will get better. No question. So I studied 1 year to be my master's degrees. Yeah. I passed my master's degree. And I was one of the few foreigners that I was able to pass the bar exam.
Wow. And the bar exam, I mean, that is super intense.
Super intense. I study, I think, 16 to 20 hours. Seriously, during 3 to 4 months without taking 1 day off.
Wow.
But that was the story.
Amazing. That's amazing.
That's the story. I mean,
that native speakers fail that test multiple times. So, I mean, I can't even imagine. So, any suggestion for our listeners as to how they can improve their English in a short amount of time without that pressure that you have?
No, of course. Yeah. I have a very good example. First of all, we feel afraid. We feel ashamed because we don't have the perfect accent or because we don't have the perfect vocabulary. It doesn't matter. I will tell you a story. When I started in the law firm, still my English, my pronunciation was really bad. I still was working on it. And so every time they took me to a meeting with a client, the American client would look at me like, wow, is this guy is going to represent me? Can he think? And so of course, he listens to the accent and clients get nervous.
Yeah.
So I developed a phrase and I want you to use it. The fact that I speak with an accent doesn't mean that I think with an accent. So an accent is just an accent, but it doesn't define who you are. So keep going. Go with your accent, practice, and you will become better.
I love that. No, I love that. And it's part of your personality too. I've been here for 20 years and I still have an accent when I speak Spanish.
Right.
Cuando hablo español tengo acento.
Of course.
And that's just part of who I am.
And no problem.
But I like that phrase. We repeat it. We repeat it for the listeners.
Sure. The fact that I speak with an accent doesn't mean that I think with an accent.
I love that.
Because that's confusing. People think, oh, he has an accent. Oh, he doesn't think well. No, that's two different things.
Totally. No, I love that. So, Jorge, you've just published this amazing book that I've read. And, I mean, it is really groundbreaking. It's called La economía de la abundancia. And you talk about economics, consciousness, and sustainability. And so what inspired you to write this book?
Well, okay, let's go back. This is a long journey. I mean, it's an extremely long journey. It's my lifelong journey where I have very high moments and low moments, like everybody else. But during those moments, I discovered that the root of most of our suffering is the economy.
Is the economy. Okay.
Because everybody, millions of people, everybody, that's the engine behind ourselves. We wake up every morning to go to work and trying to get some money.
Okay.
That's everybody. That's what it really push society forward. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the way the economy has evolved has produced the symptoms are anxiety, disconnection, stress, depression, suffering, destruction of nature, inequality. So every time we're seeing that the economy is creating more symptoms, more bad symptoms, and we don't realize. We continue business as usual, and that shouldn't be. And so by being in the economy, because I really went into the economy, adopted its mentality, and competed there. And I think I was relatively successful. So I discovered, I started my process of awakening, my personal process 20 years ago. And then by walking through the process, I asked, because this is a reality, I asked God, I purchased Cambio 16, a media company here, a magazine, that it was a political and economic magazine, very popular. And I wanted to go into politics, but I discovered that all my growth, my personal growth, led me to see the problems in the economy. Okay. I said, okay, I now understand why the economy is not working.
Now, did something happen to you for you to see what the problems in the economy? Did you have a personal experience that brought you to, like you said, wake up?
Well, the awakening process, let's go there. The awakening process is a process of suffering. No problem. No question. Once you go low, all of us go low, and then we see the light. And we start understanding that many things in our life are not working. That's when you decided, okay, I'm going to take action, I'm going to take control of my life, and I'm going to change.
Right.
Basically, if you believe in God, you start listening to God. Because you knew before all of the things that were wrong in your life, and you needed to change. So all my personal growth led me to many changes in my life. So once you are awake, you need to understand that yourself wants to help.
Okay.
That's automatically.
Okay.
It's impossible for a person that is awake not to want to help others, because that's the awakening process. You become self-awareness and you want to help others.
So for you, the definition of awake would be that, right?
The definition of awake is seeing reality as it is.
Okay.
And taking control of your life. Being responsible, real responsibility for your actions, so you become the creator of your life and you help to create the reality, another reality for society.
Okay.
But you take control, because most of the persons right now, we are asleep inside an sleeping economy. And the worst part is that the dream makes us believe we are awake. I'm giving conference right now to people. This is a new phase of my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to 600, even to 3,000
Tell our listeners, where can they find you in a conference, for example, or is it with private events?
Well, mostly in my Instagram. I announce them all the time, so they can go to Jorge Neri B and follow me in Instagram, and I always announce in all these conferences. And I start all these conferences saying, raise your hands, those who believe are awake. 80% raises their hand. And I said, fantastic, what a nice day. We're going to put that to the test. once I start going one by one, whether you are presence, whether you understand the system, whether you know what to do, whether you are responsible for your actions, and responsibility, please understand that it's not guilt, it's not a penalty, it's responsibility being truthful to yourself and understanding what your soul wants, what your essence wants. And from there, you start acting.
Okay.
When you're awake, you react. When you're asleep, you react. When you're awake, you decide.
Okay.
That's the difference. Most of the time in life, we're going there reacting to what is happening, as opposed to deciding what to do.
Yes, being reactive versus proactive, right? Or kind of taking control.
Proactive is a good word, but I'd rather say deciding. Deciding means you understand the input, you analyze the input from an awakening point, from an understanding point, you decide what to do.
Okay.
And that defines your destiny, because you're not reacting to the facts, to the circumstances. So anyway, guys, the book, it will talk about this, but it will go deeper, because once I want everybody to awake, because with sleep people, we will continue with the economy as it is.
And you think that has an ending, or at least a bad result?
I think it has a very short time before the collapse. I mean, we can see it in humanity and society, because inequality every time is bigger. Yeah. People are suffering. In reality, the middle class is being squished to almost non-existence. So you see, and that's the majority of the people, not to talk about the poor people. And nature is about to collapse. The ecosystems are in tension, because the economy as it is, based on ego and two low emotions that we can discuss later, based on those emotions and ego, we're creating a scarcity economy. Only few will keep everything and little to the rest. Right. And that's unsustainable, because we're destroying nature. So I don't know whether, I hope we're able to understand this fact, all of us, or your listeners, by the book, become somehow an agent of change, and we can change this from an understanding point of view quick. Okay. Otherwise, like we humans, we will need a disaster. I hope we don't have to reach the disaster part to change. Wake up, yes.
Now, to speak about ego, Jorge, that's one of the things that you mentioned in your book that I was really, drew my attention, because you say ego is the enemy of abundance.
Yes.
You says it makes us believe that the scarcity mindset. And then you shared your own personal experience as a lawyer in New York. How did you overcome your own ego? Because we all have an ego. Everybody has an ego. I mean, there's a healthy ego, right?
They call about bad ego and healthy ego, but let's go deeper. Ego makes us believe we're separate.
We're separate. We're all separate entities.
Okay. And we're here in this planet together. Okay. If the boat goes down, first class goes down too. So it doesn't work. I'm okay, and I don't care about the rest. Okay. So we are a unity. This planet,
a collective.
This planet is together. The ego makes us believe we are separate entities, and we should only protect ourselves. Okay. And that becomes a system, which is the system we're on it. If I want to win, somebody has to lose. And if I want to win big, a lot of people have to lose, and the nature has to lose too. The win-win fact that everybody talks, let's make a win-win deal. Let's make a win-win situation. Okay, is in the words, but not in the practice yet. We need to evolve. And that's part of what I'm saying. And ego, well, let me retract a little bit. Okay. And I don't want to complicate it too much, guys, but I want to make it simple. The book is simple. I wrote it for everybody to understand it short, and I made it as simple as possible because I want everybody to understand this. But it's good to start from the beginning. You know the definition of economy? What economists will tell us? Economy is the science that studies how to allocate limited resources to unlimited human needs.
So limited resources to unlimited human needs.
Of course.
Okay.
And that creates a tension.
Right.
Because if you tell me there is not enough for everybody.
Every man for himself.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
I will work my part.
Grab what you can. Yeah.
Grab what you can. Run for it.
Yeah.
And that's what I said in the book. That's wrong.
Okay. So the definition of economics for you is wrong because that's a scarcity mindset.
Of course.
Right.
The moment that you say there is not enough for everybody, your mind will go.
Yeah.
Not even people acting put on top of that ego, and people will go to compete, fearful, and to accumulate as much as possible.
Do you remember in COVID when everyone was buying toilet paper?
Sure.
You know, that's just an easy example for listeners that everyone ran out and bought all the toilet paper in the stores. I mean, that's a perfect example of everyone fending for themselves.
Sure. And I don't know why toilet paper, but that's a different, of course.
But I'm just saying, but a toilet
that's
paper.
a different conversation, of course.
But I'm saying every man looks out for their own needs.
But if you tell me that the definition of economic is to allocate unlimited resources to limited resources to unlimited needs, that creates immediately attention.
So what would your definition of economy be?
Economy is abundance for everybody. Please understand this, it's a lie. There are sufficient resources for all of us if we have the right consciousness.
Now, speaking of unlimited resources, you talk about AI in the book. And AI is something that I think I hear at least once a day. You know, everyone's talking about it. Some people see it as the enemy. Some people see it as an ally.
Sure.
How do you think AI forms a part of this idea of unlimited resources? Can it help us?
We're entering into a very difficult subject.
No, I know, but for example, can we use AI to maybe, for example, create more food for people? Or to make the menial jobs, the difficult jobs,
of course,
easier?
Of course, AI and robotics, because it goes together, will generate more wealth. But the question is, are we ready to distribute such wealth in an abundance mentality or a scarcity mentality? That's the whole thing, because there is a consciousness behind AI. Somebody's creating AI. It doesn't come from God. It comes from a human being. If humans controlling AI does not understand these concepts or does not, understand, because the question is understand, or at a higher level of consciousness and understand that we are all together, that we need to be, the well-being of everybody is important for your own well-being, then it all depends on the consciousness behind that machine. So I say it in the book. I'm talking to different people in AI because I think it's urgent that we create an AI that can help people make consciousness decision to help awakening people. We need to awake. If we continue sleep, machines will will get and dominate us.
You think so?
But if we're asleep, if you're asleep, machines will put in front of you, or whoever wants to control you, things to keep you asleep. We need to awake. You understand that in the book, there are so many things. I know we're running out of time, but there are so many things in the book that will show you where we're asleep and why you are hurting yourself. For example, put more value into things that educate than those that distract. Why distracting things worth more than those that educate? Why those things that make us sick worth more than those that make us healthy? Why those that make us divided as opposed to unity? Destruction as opposed to regenerating. So all these things we don't know, but we're part of that system. And every day we feed the system with our actions.
Mm-hmm.
We are unconsciously, because we're asleep. We go and buy a product that is not good. We don't need. We are in social media, distracted from what is important to yourself and to your soul.
100%.
And keep you asleep.
Yeah. In jobs that we don't like, in jobs that don't produce anything that
we don't have purpose. We love meaning. We love purpose. And every time I see this AI taking more control, even of our thoughts, and that's very, very dangerous.
Well, I'd love to, when we come back for the second half, Jorge, I'd love to get a little bit more into AI with you, and then also the idea of well-being, and how can we apply this idea of waking up not only in our personal life, but in our jobs?
Of course. Yeah. I would love to start with the well-being, because that's a critical part of the book.
Well, listen, you can find Jorge at Jorge Neri Bay on Instagram, and you can find his book, La Economía de la Abundancia, in all major book retailers and Amazon.es. And please stay tuned, because we will be back with more about this fascinating topic. Jorge, I mean, I read the book. I love the book. It really makes you think, and it makes you, I think it's like the first step for someone that's not awake.
Sure.
To awaken. So we'll be right back. You can listen to us on iVox, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Estás escuchando Vaughan Radio.
¿Tus hijos necesitan dar un salto de inglés este verano? ¿Tienen planes en el extranjero o simplemente quieren ganar confianza? Apúntales a nuestras clases particulares one-to-one. Con nuestras clases one-to-one ganarán confianza en inglés para alcanzar nuevas oportunidades. El inglés abre puertas y con Vaughan aprenderán inglés para vivir sus sueños. No esperes más y entra en grupovaughan.com e infórmate. Hello, friends. It's that time of year again as we celebrate the Canada Day Pancake Breakfast in support of the Asociación Española contra el Cáncer. With the support of Vaughan Radio, we once again welcome you to join us for breakfast on Sunday, July 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Toast Tap Room Malasaña, Calle San Vicente Ferrer 33 in Madrid. Enjoy authentic Canadian-style pancakes and maple syrup, with a portion of each breakfast sold being donated to the Asociación Española contra el Cáncer, along with all the funds from our prize raffle, Nuestra Rifa. This year we have great prizes from Air Canada, Taste of America, Maltman Brewing, and more. Join us for a great time in support of a great cause at the 8th Annual Canada Day Pancake Breakfast, Sunday, July 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Toast Tap Room Malasaña. I hope to see you there, and happy Canada Day.
Si tu hijo tiene entre 6 y 12 años y termina el curso con dudas en matemáticas, Genius Math puede ayudarle a reforzar la base antes de septiembre. Clases online de matemáticas en inglés, método Singapur y 60% de descuento solo hasta el 30 de junio. Más información en grupovaughan.com/matemáticas.
Mommy, Daddy, these summer English books are so much fun.
¿Quieres que este verano tus hijos repasen inglés de forma divertida? Tenemos justo lo que necesitas. Llega Summer English. Listen, practice, learn. La nueva colección de cuadernos de Vaughan para niños de primero a sexto de primaria. Con juegos, gramática, vocabulario, audios y actividades online. Todo al más puro estilo Vaughan. Ya disponibles en vaughantienda.com y librerías seleccionadas. Este verano, aprender inglés será su plan favorito.
Este verano, ¿quieres que tus hijos se diviertan, vivan 1000 aventuras y además ganen fluidez en inglés, rodeados de naturaleza y con los mejores monitores angloparlantes Vaughan? Tráelos a nuestro Vaughan Summer Camps. Hay 4 ubicaciones diferentes para que elijas tu mejor opción. Con cabañas, actividades acuáticas, multiaventura, nuevos amigos y entornos increíbles donde aprenderán a resolver situaciones cotidianas en inglés sin darse cuenta. Más de 3000 niños viven nuestras inversiones cada año. Encuentra tu mejor Summer Camp sin salir de España. Ahora también en la playa. Llámanos al 917001199 y contrata tu mejor camp.
Come to learn with us at Vaughan. ¿Te apuntas? ¿Quieres aprender inglés a tu propio ritmo y según tu horario?
En Vaughan tenemos la solución perfecta para ti. Con las clases particulares online de Vaughan, disfrutarás de la máxima flexibilidad en tu aprendizaje del inglés. Tú eliges. ¿Prefieres centrarte en la conversación o en la gramática? No hay ningún problema. Con Vaughan puedes seleccionar la modalidad que más te convenga. Y no solo eso, sino que también tienes completa libertad para elegir el día, la hora y la duración de tus clases. ¿Solo tienes 25 minutos? Perfecto. En Vaughan nos adaptamos a ti. Visita grupovaughan.com hoy mismo y descubre cómo nuestras clases particulares pueden transformar tu forma de aprender inglés. Flexibilidad y calidad en la enseñanza del inglés a tu medida.
Vaughan Radio.
Hello, friends. It's that time of year again as we celebrate the Canada Day Pancake Breakfast in support of the Asociación Española contra el Cáncer. With the support of Vaughan Radio, we once again welcome you to join us for breakfast on Sunday, July 5th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Toast Tap Room Malasaña, Calle San Vicente Ferrer 33 in Madrid. Enjoy authentic Canadian-style pancakes and maple syrup, with a portion of each breakfast sold being donated to the Asociación Española contra el Cáncer, along with all the funds from our prize raffle, Nuestra Rifa. This year we have great prizes from Air Canada, Taste of America, Maltman Brewing, and more. Join us for a great time in support of a great cause at the 8th Annual Canada Day Pancake Breakfast, Sunday, July 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Toast Tap Room Malasaña. I hope to see you there, and happy Canada Day.
Estás escuchando Vaughan Radio.
And we're back, and today we're with Jorge Neri. He's the author of the book La economía de la abundancia. You can find Jorge Neri on his Instagram at Jorge Neri B. So we were just talking before we went to the commercial break. We were talking about, AI and well-being in general. And, you were telling me during the break that people are suffering. So one of the reasons why you wrote this book is, I think, to end, suffering, or at least to make us more conscious of the fact that we are suffering.
I wrote the book because I think God gave me the gift. It's not mine. It's Him's. It's His. I'm a true believer. I mean, and I think I asked God the question, why do you make me understood the economy as I was, as I started in Wall Street? Because that's the most rough and
capitalistic environment.
Capitalistic and
ego-driven,
egomaniac economy.
Totally.
Or you will say things that you won't believe in terms of destruction of societies and environment and everything just to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there and understood it. I understood how it worked from within. And then I did my personal growth process for many years, and I was able to see all these masters that talked about consciousness, that they didn't understand the economy. So they don't go there.
Right, they see it as like two separate things, right?
Yes, I don't, it's like that's dirty, and I stay here in the spiritual realm.
Because I'm above all the capitalistic
world. For me, it was simple. I said, wow, what we need is to upgrade the system. I'm not against the system. That's evolution. I'm not judging. I'm not coming from a place of confrontation. On the contrary, I want the economy to evolve to capitalism 2.0, 3.0, whatever you want to call it. But it's an evolution where we all can win from. Because right now, as I said before, we're an economy that is win-lose. Few people win, the majority lose. But we can become an economy of win-win. There will continue being people with more than others because that's human nature. That we're all different. But it's different if we work all together for an economy that brings well-being for humans and nature. That should be the next coin for the economy. What do I mean by this?
Exactly. How would you define well-being?
But before defining well-being, what do I mean by economy of well-being? Okay. Right now, and I said it before, we identify products and services that brings well-being to people and the nature. And we promote those products and services as opposed to those that damage humans and nature. But this sounds very simple, but in reality, I can give you 100 examples where we go into the economy and we promote products that are dangerous.
Like, for example, did you have any, off the top of your head?
Plastic. We go in everywhere and we buy plastic. We buy, for example, toys in excess to kids that we don't need.
Clothes.
If we continue, and let's say the other day I went to a restaurant and the guy came to me and said, I have a chuletón from Australia. And I'm like, from Australia? We don't have chuletón here in
Spanish chuletón, yeah.
What do you mean? You brought a chuletón from Australia to here? From Australia? You know how much energy consumption you have to bring it in cold, if it's real, huh? Let's suppose it's real. And how much of energy, destruction of the oceans, everything to buy a chuletón from Australia. And somebody will pay for it and will feel like, oh, I'm a king. I pay more for a chuletón from Australia. Come on, that's a low consciousness.
And that goes back to your ego that you talked about before.
Of course, that goes back to your ego. Buy a chuletón from a near market. Low consumption, supporting the economy. All our actions have consequences. We are the market. The system is us. Guys, we can change it. There is no company, there is no politician that can resist a change in our consciousness because they will have to adopt to generate abundance for everybody. That's if all the products, and imagine an economy where all the products help create well-being for people or for the nature. Last time, I'm going to give you a very good example. I think everybody will understand this. I saw the other day in the news that Donald Trump was going to make the latest destroyer called the Trump Destroyer. And that thing will have...
What is it, the Donald Trump Destroyer? What is it?
Well, he says that it will have nuclear weapons. It will be capable of destroying the world. And it will cost $14 billion. And I said, wow, okay, fantastic. You are investing $1,400,000 in the destruction. When will be the day that we will see a boat of $14 billion going into the oceans to clean the oceans and to regenerate the oceans?
Right.
We live out of the oceans.
Right.
But you see, guys, our consciousness we're not there.
But you know what? The politicians, like you say, it's probably better for them if we stay asleep.
Of course.
Than if we're awake.
But I don't even know. I don't want to say them and us.
Yeah.
We are all together.
Yeah.
They are acting according to what the majority requires.
Right.
If the majority are asleep, they are asleep, we don't change. I'm not trying to find here guilty. We are all guilty.
Right.
We need all to assume responsibility of our actions, become part of this new trend, and push for the change. That's our responsibility. But it's very hard to become part of this new trend if you don't act to be well yourself. You have to become a human being that is at least well-being, has well-being. Because people come to me and say, how can I help? And I said, the first thing that I want you to do is to become happy with yourself.
Help yourself, right?
Of course.
Like they say, put your oxygen mask on before you try to help others.
I want you to, because you're not going to be able to help from a pain position. Because that's not true. In order to become somebody that can help in changing the world, you got to first understand that you need to awake yourself and become well to yourself, and then you can be well to others. And that's in the book I gave a lot of tips.
Yeah. Like, for example, to have well-being, right? We spend at least 8 hours of the day, right? A third of our day in the workplace.
Sure.
Is the workplace a perfect example of places that promote the opposite of well-being?
Sure.
You know, I mean, how could, for example, let's say I had a business. How would I be able to create maybe a space that promotes well-being?
I think this is critical, Linda. we follow people that really can speak beautiful.
Okay.
But that's different from people that are coherent between what they say and what they do. Once you find a leader
that has both,
and you start seeing that he understands, because for companies, for me, it's very simple. We created La Academia del Cambio to help companies starting from well-being.
So do you actually work with companies to
Yes.
promote well-being? That's an interesting piece of information for our listeners.
We launched La Academia del Cambio within Cambio 16. That's one of the services, because we stopped being a media company and we became a platform that inspire people, companies, and governments to transit into this economy of abundance. What do? We find a leader that is 80% above in understanding, that wants to understand. Not awake. It's okay. Want to understand. Then we bring them well-being, because even leaders are in suffering. Stress, anxiety, pressure, revenues. We need to bring all this. And everybody's in this madness economy that we need to grow. We need to bring more.
No, you're right. And sometimes we think that suffering is only, poor people or people without resources.
No. It's everybody. We're here together. You were in the presentation of the book, and I asked the question, and there were 150 leaders, and I asked the question, who is worried for the future? And everybody raised their hand. Why? Because we're all worried. Because we somehow feel the suffering, stress, anxiety, whatever, in different grades. But everybody is suffering. So we get to the CEO, and we make the CEO understand that well-being is critical for his new leadership, for being adapting to this economy. Once he understands it for himself, he says, wow, I should do this to my employees because they will be better.
More productive.
Of course, because I'm more productive. I'm more balanced. I'm more in equilibrium. So I will implement it to my company, to my whole staff. And that's how we start. And then the next step, okay, let's start working on the consciousness. Let me show you where the future of customers will be. Because the problem is right now, not to acquire new customers, how to not lose future customers, because they are awake and they will require different products.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. I mean, the world is changing.
Especially if we wake up, we're going to all want different products, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
For example, I mean, I love the Balearic Islands. And you're seeing the little by little is becoming the well-being of Europe. More times you see new ventures for well-being.
Yeah.
Because there will be more clients requiring, I want to have a well-being trip. And this is the change that we're seeing.
And I think people are spending, because they talk about there's a crisis now in the luxury market, right? That people aren't spending as much on luxury goods, bags, shoes. And I feel like that shift has gone towards well-being products.
Of course.
For longevity.
The primary luxury product will be wealth.
And time.
Time and wealth.
Yeah.
But wealth, well-being. Well-being. Of course, to be well-being, you need to give time to yourself. No question.
So, for example, in a company, what would be an easy way for someone to implement something, even if you have the smallest company, something to promote well-being amongst your employees?
Well, start with yourself. People always say, what can I do?
What can I do?
But if you are in a state of well-being, you don't know how you will expand that to everybody. You know what? Let me explain this, because this is critical. Abundance is not accumulation. Abundance is expansion. Is the awakening of all your dimensions. So people that are leaders that believe that accumulation of power, of good, of wealth is abundance, you're wrong. You will continue feeling empty.
That's how I would define abundance. More and more accumulate.
But it's the awakening of all your dimensions. What do I mean by that? You're becoming more self-aware. You find your purpose. You find inner peace. You have health, mental health and physical health. You have creativity. You becoming more unique. Your expression becomes yourself out there.
Authentic.
Authentic. And that will radiate, will expand. That's yourself expanding. And that will have an impact in everything you do. It's impossible not to impact others. Your companies, you would like everybody to be there. Your products will be better. Your services will be better. Everything will become better. And that's what I call the economy of abundance. Everybody will have sufficient because we'll be able to multiply wealth by doing this. If I want your well-being and you want the well-being of the other and we all work together, it sounds like a dream. Oh, but humans are too selfish. Yes, but let me tell this. I've seen it, that there is an underground awakening process. Every day, more people are asking, I need to stop and I need to challenge my life because I'm not happy at my work. I'm suffering at my work. I'm suffering at my life. And that's the product of reacting to life and not deciding to life. And I try to put it in simple terms. Well, you read the book.
Yeah.
Were you able to understand this concept?
No, and talking about, for example, happiness. You said it comes from love, service, and purpose.
Sure.
So waking up, you think, ultimately leads us to happiness.
Sure.
So what would be, for example, aside from reading your book, what do you think would be a good first step? I mean, or second step? That would be the first step. What would be a good second step to kind of start that process?
Well, this is funny because this is a question that everybody asks me.
Yeah, I guess everyone. It's like we need to be pragmatic. How do we do this?
Everybody wants to. Okay, give me the first
formula.
Step. Give me the formula. And unfortunately, guys, I cannot do that.
It's a personal journey.
No, you know why I cannot do that? Because we see so much garbage. I leave myself on Instagram and social media I give you the 5 steps to happiness. No, it doesn't work like that. You gotta assume responsibility of your life. And assuming responsibility of your life is go deeper. Read, stop, read, meditate, understand where you are, and start walking your change. There is no other way. I went through. There is not a secret, a magic one.
No.
It doesn't exist.
No, but you talked about a couple questions in your book that you can ask yourself to kind of get maybe started.
Sure. No. And the book will help you.
Yeah.
The intention of the book is to make you understand where you are and to initiate your process. And so I want you to spark spark in you so you can start your process.
And I think that the idea about purpose, what are you here? What makes you happy? Like what, and I started doing that. I told you about a year ago with my coaching. So It was a way for me to combine, my love to talk and empathy with my MBA background. So I see the way that I can help people.
And
I am, and having them organize their lives and having them motivated for their projects. And I think,
how do you feel?
It makes me feel so fulfilled.
Sure.
Because when last night I got a message from a client saying, Linda, I'm so motivated. Thank you for your help. Sure. And that just makes my week.
That's it.
And so I'm like, how amazing is it to be able to combine something that you love to do and make that into a business?
Sure.
So, I mean,
But I think everybody, guys, because we didn't go through this, and the economy has 2 emotions, and you need to understand this, because this goes to Linda. The economy is ruled right now from fear and greed. And those 2 emotions are low emotions. And that's why the results we're seeing, because if in your family, the values of your family are envy, competition, selfishness, of course you're going to have a bad family. That family is not going to be beautiful. That family is not going to be united. It's not going to be solid. It's going to be weak. The same economy. The economy is ruled in 2 emotions, fear and greed. Behind fear are your dreams. But the system right now wants everybody to sleep on fear. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not destructive. I want everybody to fulfill their dreams. And that's the fear you're talking. We don't go there and start finding out what is good for us, what our soul is requiring, is screaming out, because we have fear. But fear is just a tool. So don't fall into that. I will explain in the book how you can overcome fear. And greed is ignorance. Okay, everything for me. But
it's the scarcity mindset.
Sure, that's coming back to the same. So helping out. Once you pass fear, you will see that your soul is always want to do something that requires, that makes others better. Because that's how we are. That's our real nature.
And that's the way to, I think, authentic happiness.
There is no other way. That's the way it happens. Because that's awakening.
Now, Jorge, I want to talk about the educational systems and communication. It's something you bring up in the book, and I think it's super important.
Sure.
Now, I have 4 children, as you know, and I worry about the influence of screens, and I think that's contributing to our sleeping.
Oh, it makes it worse. I think we were the last to be safe.
Our generation, yeah.
Our generation, because those screens projects a fake image of reality. A fake image is so superficial that it doesn't allow you, and that's what I says in the book, Changing the Education System, to go in. The only way to be able to expand yourself is to go in first and be able to understand who you are, what you like.
And you can't do that if you're stuck on a screen all day. Right?
Of course not.
If you're looking at other people's lives and not living yours.
And the education system is part of it. I mean, and again, I'm not judging. It's just the way it is. We start by teaching our kids what to do before teaching them who they are.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
I never thought about that.
Once you know who you are, then you can do what you want. And you can start acting. But if you start acting everything, I need to do, and then you stop and say, who am I?
But no one stops. Because I think if I could go back again, I would have done a totally different career than I did.
I know.
But
that's what I say it's wrong.
Because I didn't know who I was. I just thought that, I guess fear and greed, you have to follow this path in order to be successful and to be able to accumulate.
Sure. I'm saying we're all guilty of the same system. We are the system. If we want to change it, we need to change the education system. I said in the book, and people tell me, wow, it's true. We move millions in seconds. And we are teaching machines how to learn by themselves, but we haven't teach our kids how to handle emotions, what they are, how they become better. And we spend time teaching them history, geography, whatever. And when are we going to teach them that they have a soul and that they need to come in conjunction, in unity with what they are? And I think that's the CV of the future.
Now, Jorge, tell me about Cambio 16. Speaking about communication and how that can be an important tool for all of us to wake up. Tell me, what do your publications are so different from, well, now you tell me it's digital, right?
It's digital.
So you can find Cambio 16 where?
Online.
Okay.
You will find it everywhere, in all the social media, in cambio16.com. Basically, it has been a very long process because when I acquired the media, 8 years ago, I said, okay, I want to change it. I want to change the media into something positive.
Yeah.
And I had to go over litigation and everything because everybody was telling me, good news are no news.
Good news doesn't sell, right?
Good news are no news.
Yeah.
Doesn't sell, doesn't generate money. You're going to go broken. So I had to face litigation everywhere. And I say, guys, yes, that's why that's why the economy keeps feeding itself. Because if we only tell people bad news, how are they going to start finding inspiration? How are they going to start changing? And there are so many good. I'm positive about this because I see it every day. There are so many people who are majority doing good than doing bad.
Yeah.
The problem is the amplifier is the bad.
Because we have to perpetuate the fear.
Exactly. So I decided in Cambio 16, only good news, only information that help the audience become better, only information that will make you feel better, will give you a different point of view.
And give you hope.
I give you hope. I'm not naive. I understand the problems because people will say, oh, that's naive because the world is full of problems. Yes. and there are so many medias, you can go there and see the problems. In this media, you will find information and cases and people that are doing amazing things because we are majority. That's for sure. Good is bigger than bad.
And sometimes I think we forget that.
Oh, no question. And I said in the book, it's time that good starts screaming. That thing that when you do a good deed, supposed to stay quiet because it's a good deed, it has to stop. We need to tell people how many of us are doing good things for others.
Now, Jorge, just to kind of wrap it up, in a world where we're constantly bombarded with fear and negativity, you repeat throughout the book and on the cover, you are my hope. Any message of hope for our listeners?
Sure. You have it in you. This is the most powerful thing that you will understand. Abundance is in you. However, it's your responsibility to activate it. You need to become active because it's already within you.
Jorge, thank you so much for coming today. I think you have such a powerful message, and I'm so glad that you're able to,
I'm so happy to be here, and I'm starting to get red cheeks here.
Listen, you can find Jorge Neri's book, La Economía de la Abundancia, in Amazon, Corte Inglés, and all major book retailers. Thank you so much for being with us today. Please tune in next week for our next guest.
And I'm sorry that my English wasn't very good looking.
Your English was perfect.
It was rusty.
Your English was perfect. Remember, you don't think with an accent. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Vaughan Radio Madrid 100.4 FM.
¿Quieres un descuento en los cursos intensivos de inglés de Vaughan? Pues ahora es el momento. Puedes obtener un descuento de hasta 39%. Para más información sobre este descuento u otros, pásate por nuestra web, grupovaughan.com.
Vaughan Outlet. Hazte con libros y packs coleccionables de autoestudio como Objetivo Inglés, Vaughan Certified Completo, Speak English Now e Inglés en 10 pasos. Ahora con increíbles descuentos. Libros desde €1, novelas con audio desde $3.50, libros infantiles desde €3 y mucho más. Entra en vaughantienda.com, Vaughan Outlet. Aprende más, pagando menos, hasta agotar existencias.
Una semana en un lugar apartado.
Nativos angloparlantes de todas partes del mundo, uno por cada estudiante.
Terminantemente prohibido hablar en español.
Actividades organizadas y conversaciones en inglés a todas horas. No exageramos.
Aquí o hablas inglés o hablas inglés.
Y da igual las veces que te lo contemos.
Hasta que no lo vivas no sabrás que Vaughan Town te va a quitar el miedo al inglés para siempre.
Lo que pasa en Vaughan Town no se puede contar.
Tienes que vivirlo.
Ven a Vaughan Town.
Más información, grupovaughan.com.
¿Quieres aprender inglés a tu propio ritmo y según tu horario? En Vaughan tenemos la solución perfecta para ti. Con las clases particulares online de Vaughan, disfrutarás de la máxima flexibilidad en tu aprendizaje del inglés. Tú eliges. ¿Prefieres centrarte en la conversación o en la gramática? No hay ningún problema. Con Vaughan puedes seleccionar la modalidad que más te convenga. Y no solo eso, sino que también tienes completa libertad para elegir el día, la hora y la duración de tus clases. ¿Solo tienes 25 minutos? Perfecto. En Vaughan nos adaptamos a ti. Visita grupovaughan.com hoy mismo y descubre cómo nuestras clases particulares pueden transformar tu forma de aprender inglés. Flexibilidad y calidad en la enseñanza del inglés a tu medida.
¿Buscas el impulso definitivo para tu inglés profesional? Con Master Plus de Vaughan lo tienes todo. 5 meses de clases intensivas en grupo con el Executive Master, más 5 meses adicionales de clases individuales one-to-one online, donde tú eliges el horario, el ritmo y el enfoque, gramática, conversación o lo que necesites. Master Plus es flexibilidad real para alcanzar fluidez profesional. Descúbrelo en grupovaughan.com/master.
¿Quieres mejorar tu inglés sin complicaciones? Vaughan Inglés 4.0 es el curso de inglés más